whole reason for us to get together should be silly, right? So that's so we're doing the right things here.
Absolutely.
All right.
Oh, I'm frozen again.
Yeah.
Okay.
It must be cold where you are, Mike.
All right, there we go.
I'm going to stop my video.
Should we
Oh,
cancel
there's John.
the
Yeah, people are
main
coming in
Yeah,
now.
everyone's coming in at the last second as expected. So
Yep.
don't
Yeah.
worry.
But,
So everybody who's not Mike or Bruno, shut down your video for just a minute.
all right, we ready to kick things off?
I would say yes.
Okay, well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the May edition of the Garden State Java User Group. We are very happy to have Bruno Souza here with us tonight. And we'll talk a little bit more about, Bruno and introduce him, more formally introduce him as we go through our initial slides that we always do. So without further ado, I should share my screen. Share screen, there we go. Okay. Slideshow. Okay, so
Cool.
So our usual agenda is an acknowledgement of our sponsors that have graciously contributed to our nonprofit, and talk about what's new, introduce Bruno, and then after his talk, we're going to have an IntelliJ IDEA license giveaway. There's also something new tonight. We're going to have a poll partway through the Bruno's presentation. So look forward to that. We hope you participate. It is on a Java related topic. Our platinum sponsor is JFrog. Please check them out. It's jfrog.com, I believe. And they're our platinum sponsor. Our silver sponsor is Azul. I'm happy to have them along with us. We are partnered with DevNexus, and if you're already aware, the conference was just about a month ago down in Atlanta. So it was the first time in 2 years that the conference was in person. And we have per meeting sponsors. JetBrains, obviously they're the folks who provide us with the IntelliJ IDEA licenses. And Jakarta EE, we do have access to Crowdcast is another video conferencing software or platform that we've used in the past. So what's new? Couple of things. So if you were following along with all the JEPs that are being approved and everything, they are targeted for JDK 19, which will come out in September of this year. And some of these, there's 5 of them already. 2 are still in review, and the other ones have been. The other 3 have already been targeted. So these represent Project Loom, Project Amber, and Project Panama. These are a lot of projects. Project Loom has to do with virtual threads. Project Amber is more enhancements to the Java programming language. For example, the bar keyword was one of them. No, I take that back. That's Project Valhalla, but they're very similar. And then Project Panama is for foreign APIs to connect to external C libraries, for example. I mentioned this last month, but it's always worth repeating that the Java 1 conference has returned. You may have been to the Code 1 conferences the last few years, which had, of course, a lot of Java content, but also on programming languages such as Python. And I want to give a shout out to one of my InfoQ editors. He's had a great month of May already. He had just recently graduated the editor and training program, and his first news piece on his own is going out tomorrow on JEP 425. And then he was also anointed as a Java champion just, I think, yesterday or the day before. So I wanted to recognize him. I don't know if he's here today. He said he might attend, but I just wanted to recognize that. There's a new book that's out, the Java OCP 17 study guide. You'll see there's the photo to the right over there. And the authors are Gene Boyarsky and also Scott Selikoff, who is here with us tonight. He's one of the leaders of the Garden State Java group. And we are approaching the release of Jakarta EE10. I believe they're planning to have this released by the end of this month, which would be good. I need to follow up on that. And I know there's been some content out there talking about what's new in Jakarta EE10. So this is really exciting as a lot of the specifications have been updated.
I just want to jump in real quick. So just real quick, sorry. For anybody interested in the cert, it just was released by Oracle about 2 weeks ago. They had released it in December, but then it was on hold and then they put it back in. So if you're interested in becoming Java 17 certified, it is now available by Oracle. We're running a book promotion on Code Ranch. If you're not a member of Code Ranch, separate from all of this, I recommend joining Code Ranch. It's a wonderful place. Lots of Java developers hang out there and discuss there. But all you have to do is post in the OCP forum and you're entered a chance to win our book. So that's going on from now until the end of the week. So thanks, Mike.
Okay. Yep. And, and the last but certainly not least, I'd like to introduce Bruno. Since 1995, he's been helping Java developers improve their careers, work on cool projects with great people. Bruno's considered the Brazilian JavaMan and creator of Code4.life, an initiative to accelerate developers' careers. Bruno is also a Java developer and open source evangelist at Summa Technologies and a cloud expert at ToolsCloud. Developer communities are a personal passion, and Bruno worked actively with Java, NetBeans, Open Solaris, and many other open source communities. As founder and coordinator of SoJava, did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, SoJava.
SoJava, okay. It is definitely, you guys have got to be really big. You're based out of Brazil. And so it is one of the, the largest Java groups in the world. Bruno led the expansion of the Java movement in Brazil. Founder of the worldwide Java user groups community, Bruno helped creation and organization of hundreds of JUGs worldwide. Let's see. When not in front of a computer, Bruno enjoys time with his family in a little hideout near Sao Paulo. An amateur in many things, photographer, puppeteer, as you may have seen at some of the conferences, and father, and he strives to be tries to be good in some of them. As and this bio is all on the website here. So, but yes. So Bruno, thank you very much. I'm going to stop sharing here. We really appreciate you being with us today. And my video is out again. I see.
Yeah, your video's out. I mean,
So, sorry about that. Well, you don't need to see me anyway. So no one needs to see me.
Hey,
So.
you're back, Mike.
All right. So anyway, without further ado, Bruno, please take it away.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mike. Thanks a lot for this awesome reception, and thanks everyone else from the Garden State Java group for the invitation, for being here. I was just with Barry and Scott down in Dev Nexus, and thanks Kathleen for being here. Everyone, all the organizers. It's so good to be here with you and everyone else, right? All of you here. I want to make this very, very interactive, right? So I'm gonna start with some things, but really, can you guys, since you're all watching here, and I didn't see anyone say anything in the chat, can you just say really quick where you're from and just a quick hello, right? So and I see some more people joining in. So just so we know where, so you know where the chat is, right? Because sometimes on Zoom the chat window is a little hard. So yeah, so just tell us where you're from. So Xian is from Washington DC. So awesome, Xian. How you doing? And I'm actually gonna destroy your names, right? So hey, Dimitri from Red Hat, Vancouver. Awesome. That's great. New Jersey, right? That's Kathleen. Yes, of course, right? So hey, Paul from New Jersey. So that's awesome, right? Because I saw some people, João Pessoa, Brazil, Flauber is from, yeah, so I'm actually going to be with Flauber on his community on Thursday, right? I think that's what I think, right? So that's good. Ushuaia, Argentina, and Indaiatuba in Brazil, says Andrea. Awesome, right? So we have people from all over. So thanks for the people from Brazil also for being here. That's great, right? So Bill's from New Jersey. I think so good that today with the internet and lots of things going online, we can actually be from everywhere and participate on those discussions. So thanks a lot for the Garden State Java group for setting this up together so we can all hear, right? So Sadi is from Bangladesh, right? Awesome. Okay, so actually Fazlur, the guy that Michael just announced that became a Java champion, is from Bangladesh, right? So I was one of the sponsors of his Java champion submission, right? So yes, awesome. So Sajil, you have a Bangladeshian, is that how we say it, Bangladeshian, right? In the Java Champions programs. That's awesome. Okay, good. So now you guys know where the chat is, right? So one thing I want to talk about here, we're going to talk about how to be a better Java developer, how to learn faster, right, and how to get more results, right? So that's the whole idea of here today. So we're going to start with how to be better, right? So let's break that down a little bit. So how to be better. And one of the things that I see, and actually I sent an email today to my list talking about that, is that I see developers love to learn, right? And I think that it's more than love, right? So I should say we are, let me say, a little addicted, right, to learning, right? So and let me just kind of make an experiment here. So tell me in the chat, right, if you have ever bought a book, right, that you wanted to learn something, and about a technology, about something technical, about Java, for example, and you bought the book because you wanted to learn that thing, and you never even opened the book, right? Tell me if you ever did that. Tell me in the chat if you ever did that, or if you ever bought a course, right? If you bought an online course, and you wanted to watch that because something that you want to learn, and then you never even opened the course, right? So anyone there, right? Yeah, all the time, all types of content, says Flauber. Yes. Who else? Have you ever done that? Have you ever bought a book or a course, something that you want to read, but you never actually open it or read it? Just Flauber, I think that's. So someone starts screen sharing. Hey, David. I think David starts screen sharing. I'm not sharing my screen right now.
Let me see if I can. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. How do we?
Let me just. I think if I start sharing, yeah. So if I start sharing, I think I'll take over. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I took care of that.
Yeah. So then I can stop sharing. Okay, no problem. All right. So come on. Just Flauber. Yes, a lot, says Maximilian. So I think that who else has done that, right? I like to see show of hands, right? But online we don't have a show of hands, so you guys have to cooperate with me here on the chat, right? So basically, I think that we do kind of understand that learning is very important. That's why we invest, right? We invest a lot in learning, we invest a lot in books, we invest ourselves a lot in courses. But at the same time, we do realize that learning is not the most important thing, right? We do realize that just going there and read a book or watching a tutorial or watching a course is not the most important of all, because when you go create your resume, right?
Can you hear me now? Or what's your?
So I think Michael, I'm gonna mute you. Sorry. So yeah, I've started a few books, but didn't finish them, says Michael. Yeah, right. So but when you create your resume, right, you're gonna try to get a new job or a new company. One of the things that you do is you don't put your books that you read, the course that you attended to, the tutorials that you did, you don't put any of that in your resume, right? So what do you put in your resume? Tell me, if you don't put your trainings, your learning in the resume, what is that you put in the resume? Can anyone tell me what you put in resume? Because we do understand that learning is not what people are looking for, right? So, you know, come on. So what is it? What is the things that you list on your resume, your curriculum, right? Come on, guys. You gotta participate here in the chat, right? I know that. Hey, Kathleen. Do you want to say anything, or just open it? Actually,
no,
actually,
I was turning my camera on. I was going to post this in the chat, but it was only important for the intro session to keep the cameras minimal. For interaction, please feel free to turn your cameras on, and nonverbal cues can be everything sometimes. So feel free to jump in with questions in the chat, and then to turn your cameras on for the face-to-face aspect.
That's great. Yeah, so you can turn your cameras on if you want to. You can also, like Flobber, you can also use the nonverbal messages here from Zoom, right? Yeah, so Flobber says, like, only finished projects, says Dimitri, and so on, right? Flobber say just job experience, right? So that's exactly what we put. So we know that what really matters is our experience, right? And so one thing I want to, so David is really wants to share things here. Hey, David. So let me start sharing again here. And then I can stop sharing. All right, maybe you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna turn only can share host, okay, guys? So I don't know why Dave is sharing his screen, but I'm just gonna stop and just leave us to share. All right. So one thing I want to quickly talk about, right, is that what really matters, what we really want to, what we really focus, right, on sharing. I mean, not on sharing. What really matters for us is our experience, right? And so we do understand that what companies look for, what makes a difference for us, how we really grow is our experience. One thing I want to quickly tell you guys, right? Just because we're going to talk about learning here. And so the thing that really makes a difference on our learning is our brains, right? So our brains is what makes a big difference on our learning. And so, and one thing that I wanted to understand is that for your brain, the only thing that changes your brain really is experience, right? Is doing things, right? And so I'm just gonna go on biology here for just a second here, just so you understand what really happens. I'm sure you all have seen this here in your biology class when you're at school, right? This is a neuron, right? And you have the little dendrites here, and you have the axion, this little big thing here. And one thing that your biology professor did draw for you, right, was this little circles here, right? Depending, and do you guys remember what this here was? Anyone remember what this here was here, right? So this is myelin, right? That's what this thing here is, myelin, right? I think that's how it writes, right? Myelin, and I think it's 2 Y's, right? Is that how he writes? I don't know. Anyway, so myelin, right, is this little, is the white, when you see a drawing of your brain, right, the white part of your brain is this thing, is this myelin thing here, right? And what this has to do with learning, with experience, right? So when I was a kid and I learned this thing in school, there's a lot of myths about the brain that we learned that time, right? So we only use 10% of our brains. The brain, it stops growing after you're a kid, right? After you become an adult, your brain stops growing. And none of this is true, right? We use 100% of our brains. We never found a place where our brains is not used. We do also, our brains keep changing. Our brains physically change all the way to the end of your life. And what is the neurons, actually, that's a true thing. The neurons, we don't get new neurons, right? We actually lose neurons in our lives. But the thing that changes in our brains all the time is this thing here, the myelin that is around the neurons. And you say, what does that to do with learning, Bruno? What does that to do with experience? And the reality is, the myelin in your brain, it's a very simple thing. It serves to as an isolation layer, right? So it prevents the electricity that goes in your brain to escape from the neuron. And what myelin does, it accelerates the speed that electricity moves in your neurons. What does that mean? And how much it accelerates? Well, a neuron full of myelin can get up to 100 times faster than a neuron with no myelin, right? And not only that, but also a neuron with lots of myelin can be activated up to 30 times faster than a neuron without myelin. And you're like, okay, Bruno, what does that to do? And you know what we call 100 times faster? We call this magic, right? That's why you guys have this, the basketball player, you call him Magic Johnson, right? You know, someone that's 100 times faster than you in something, right? We call this person magic. And that is the difference between, for example, a junior developer, right, and a specialist, right? You know, it's the difference is how much myelin we have on the right neurons. You know, I was talking the other day, there's a Java champion called Otávio Santana. He's very famous in Brazil, very famous worldwide. And when you talk to Otávio, right, you talk anything Java related, he's a committer on OpenJDK, you know, he's participated in lots of Java specifications, and you talk with Otávio about anything Java related, he's very fast, right? You know, you ask him questions, technical questions. You know, the other day I was in Chicago discussing with the local Java group leaders. We were in a bar, right? And someone right in front of me asking me a question about something Java. And when I said, like, I did like this, Otávio answered the other side of the table. Otávio was answering already, right? Yeah. So Dimitri says, alcohol affects myelin shaft, right? And Michael says, Otávio is awesome. Yeah, myelin. Also, I wrote completely wrong, right? Thank you. So myelin is, okay. M-Y-E, myelin. All right, okay. Okay, so thanks, Hugo. All right, so basically, you know, someone is 100 times faster, man. You know, we think that person is magical. We ask, if you ask Otávio, for example, right? And you say, hey, Otávio, how can you do that? How do you know this answer so fast? How do you know that stuff so fast? And you know what he tells you? I don't know. I just do know, right? And that's the power of 100 times faster, right? So someone that, you know, for example, Mike is saying, I work with Otávio in the Jakarta NoSQL specification, right? So that's great, right? So when you talk about NoSQL with Otávio, and his neurons are 100 times faster, right, than your neurons, or definitely than my neurons, right? Otávio's neurons are much faster than my neurons for sure. I'm not sure about yours, you know, maybe, you know, I don't know everyone here, right? So if when I talk with Otávio, I'm amazed at how much better than he is for me, because that's what we call magic, right? Now, the question that we have to ask is, okay, so if and basically what science has known right now is that myelin is equal is skills, right? The more myelin you have in the right neurons, the better you are at these skills, right? Even physical skills. You know, if you're a runner, for example, or if you're a skateboarder, or you're a surfer, whatever physical skill that you have, it is myelin in your neurons, both in the brain, but also now your body, that actually relay the information to your muscles in very, very fast, so you can actually do all the physical stuff, right? So myelin is equal skills. So the more myelin you have in your neurons, the better you are at what? At experience, right? Because that's, you know, skills is different than learning, right? You know, skills are your experience, are the things that you know how to do, that you do well. It's not only the things that you know about, but the things that you do well, okay? So if you want to have amazing skills, you want to get better, the whole discussion here, how to get better as a developer. If you want to get better as a developer, you have to be better at the skills of the development, and then you have to have myelin in the right neurons, in the developer neurons. And so here, I'm going to tell you the three, I call this F3, right? I call the F3 is the 3 F's of skill acquisition, right? If you want to be better at anything, there's 3 F's of skill acquisition. That's now you're going to understand why I'm doing biology here, because they're all tied to biology, right? The first F is fire. For your brain to put myelin in the right neurons, you have to fire the neurons, right? If you don't fire the right neurons, your brain's not going to put myelin in the right place. So when you're reading a book, for example, do you think that you're firing the reading neurons or you're firing the development, software development neurons, right? You actually, if you're reading a book, you're firing the read neurons. So you're not becoming a better developer by reading a book, right? So if you want to be a better developer, right, you have to do it. There's no other way, guys. You can't just learn software development the same way you can't learn how to ride a bike, or you can learn how to skateboard, for example. You have to go and do it, right? That's why we're fanatics for learning, but we do understand that the only thing that really counts is experience, right? And so basically, if you don't fire the neuron, your brain does not put myelin in the right place. The second F is you have to force it, right? What does that mean? Look, let me give an example on muscles, right? Because brain cells and muscle cells, they're not the same thing, of course, right? But they're biological cells, right? So they work in similar ways. So let's say, for example, that I have, let's imagine I have this 1 kilo thing here, right? It's just a battery, right? So it's not 1 kilo anything, but let's imagine I have 1 kilo thing here, and then I'm going to do exercise. And so I'm going to do like 10 flexions here today with 1 kilo. And then, because I want to be very strong, right? So tomorrow I'm going to do again 10 with 1 kilo. Then, after a week, 10 with 1 kilo. And I keep doing every day. But then after a month, 10 with 1 kilo. After a year, 10 with 1 kilo. Am I getting stronger? Right? No, I'm not, right? I'm seeing Kathleen moving her head right there. No, I'm not, right? Of course I'm not getting strong. Why? Because my muscles will grow just enough for me to do 10 with 1 kilo, right? If I need my muscles to grow, I need to force it. That's the same thing with the brain, right? If you want myelin, let's say you try to do something and you are able to do. So your brain doesn't need your neurons to be any faster, right? Because it just works, right? You are able to do it. So you have to force your neurons, to force your brain to put myelin around the neurons, because the neurons are not fast enough. So what do we mean force? We know what means force when you're talking about muscles, right? You need to put heavier weights, or you have to do more flexions, whatever. But in our intellectual things, forcing is making mistakes, right? So if you don't make mistakes, you're not forcing your brain. That's why it's so important for developers to do testing, for example, right? Or to do continuous delivery, or continuous continuous integration, right? CI, CD, and all that, right? Because to do lead code, says Dimitri, exactly, right? So you go experiment, you go force yourself, you go try things, and you go do things, and you have to make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you're not forcing. Your brain does not need to grow. Your brain does not need to add myelin if you're not forcing, okay? So making mistakes is extremely important. So now, the interesting thing is, you can't force it too much, right? Let's imagine, for example, well, you know what? 1 kilo, 10 flexions here is not going to work for me. I'm not going to get strong enough. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get 100 kilos and I'm going to do 100 flexions. What happens if I do that, right? Assuming I'm even be able to do it, right? But what's going to happen is that I'm going to destroy my muscles, right? And so the same thing with the brain. If you try to do too much, right? If you try to do too much at the same time, what happens is that your brain gets tired and it does not put myelin in the right places because it's tired, right? It's depleted, right? So you have to force it, but to a degree. Okay, third F, right? It has to be frequent, right? So, it doesn't work to do from time to time. If you want, same thing, right? I want to be stronger, right? It doesn't work for, okay, so I'm just going to do 10 flexions once a month, right? There's no work, right? Burnout is a real issue, says Dimitri. That's totally right. We can even talk about burnout here today. So, if I'm going to do 10 flexions once a month, nothing's going to happen, right? I'm not going to get stronger at all, right? So I have to do frequently. And one thing, let's imagine, for example, you don't have time to go exercise, right? And so you said, okay, I don't have time to exercise every day. So what I'm going to do is that once a month, I'm going to spend 2 days exercising, for 20 hours straight. What happens, right? You destroy all your muscles. You're going to be dead, right? And you're not going to get stronger. So that's why you have to do frequent. It has to be frequent enough that the brain is forced to put more myelin, right? And more than that, it takes time, right? It takes time to develop your muscle cells. It takes time for the brain to come here and put myelin around things, right? So if you force a little bit today, and then you force a little bit tomorrow, and then you force a little bit tomorrow, every day you're going to do this, and every day the brain does more and more and more myelin, right? Because the myelin is like, the brain has some special cells, right? That, let's say this is the axiom right here for the neuron, right? What the brain does is it comes with those envelopes, right? There's some special cells that envelopes the neurons of myelin. So if you want to be an awesome developer, if you want to be a better developer, what you have to do is that you have to increase your skills of software development. To do that, you have to put myelin in the right neurons. And the only way to put myelin in the right neurons is to fire those neurons, making mistakes when you're doing this, and do this every day, right? So there's no magic, right? So if you want to be an amazing developer, that's what you have to do. You have to fire, force, and do it frequently. You have to do it every day, right? Actually, that's why I got Hugo here. In a minute, Hugo is going to talk to you guys about some strategies to do things every day, right? But so this is what's behind any skill acquisition. It doesn't matter if it is software development, if it is reading specifications, right? Like Mike was talking about the Jakarta NoSQL specification. It doesn't matter if it is writing code or reading code or solving problems, or speaking, right? Like having a conversation, speaking, negotiation, any kind of skill that you want to develop, you have to fire. That means you have to go and do it. You have to do it in a way that you make mistakes, that you force yourself, and you have to do it every day. Okay. And the interesting thing about that is that every time I see people saying, oh yes, here's the trick for you to learn faster. Here's the trick for you to be a developer faster. Here's the trick to do whatever faster. There's no faster, guys, right? You need to know a little bit of neuroscience for sure. Hey, Basler is here, right? So we should get Basler to say a quick hello, because he's the newest Java champion in the block, right? So hey, Basler, how you doing, man? Good to have you here. So And Basler is right? You have to have a little bit of understanding how your brain works, because if you don't understand how your brain works, what happens? You keep trying to do what does not work, right? You keep trying to do, yes, I'm going to read lots of books, but I'm going to learn everything. I'm going to try everything and see what's going to do. And what happens with that? You don't learn, right? You don't put myelin in the right places, and you burn out, right? So we don't want you to burn out, because when you burn out, this whole thing here falls apart, right? Makes sense? So that's what skills are all about, guys. Skills is not about learning. It's not about reading. So my suggestion to you is go stop reading everything that you're doing, right? So focus on do things. That's if you really want to change your life, if you really want to become a better developer, you have to go and do things, right? So that's why my opinion for you, right? It's probably a very unpopular opinion. I think there's no better place for you to improve than your current company where you're working right now, right? Why? Because no matter what you're doing, right, you have someone that's paying you to 8 hours a day to do things, right? So, you cannot get, people think, oh, yes, I'm just going to study to get better as a developer at night or weekends, but you're never going to beat the 8 hours a day that you pay to do things, right? So the best way for you to improve is finding ways inside your company to do things every day, force yourself, experiment, right? And do every day because you're actually being paid to do that. And that can be in all kinds of ways. That's why, for example, already mentioned here, CI and CD, right? So if you want to do continuous integration, continuous deployment, it's a great way for you to experiment things, for example, make mistakes, right? And do development and develop and deliver software every day. If, for example, if you want to be we can talk a little bit here about the post-senior position that you can get, right? So what are these skills that you need? Very important skills is negotiation, is communication. So you can always in your company find places where you can raise your hand, you can speak, you can say something, you can talk with your friends, right? All of these is going to be even doing uncomfortable things, right? So when you say about forcing, is doing things that you're uncomfortable, right? People call this out of your comfort zone, right? So, we got to do this. And so if you apply your time inside your company to really get the experience, right? To actually do things, that's when you're going to grow the fastest, right? So that's the first thing, if you want to get better, we're going to talk here about being better, have more results, right? Learn faster, right? So basically, there's no learning faster, right? But the whole idea is what kind of results you want. So that's what we're going to talk next. And I want to do a quick stop here because we have the polls, right? I think Kathleen is the one who's going to introduce us to the polls. And while she's doing this, one thing I want you to think about is, okay, so what is the biggest challenge that you want that you have in your career right now? What is the biggest goal that you want to have in your career? Because I want you to discuss from now on. I want you to discuss based on what you want, what your goals have. So Kathleen, what is the whole thing about the polls that you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm going to launch this poll now. This may be our most international Garden State Jug meeting ever. So it may be a funny one to bring the question of in person, but we are beginning to think about when it will be reasonable and desirable to do that. And we're looking to hear from our community and our attendees about when to do that. So
that's cool.
I'll leave this running for a few minutes. We're also going to post in the chat a link to the IntelliJ raffle that was mentioned earlier on during the announcements.
Okay, so Kathleen, so the question is, we cannot vote, right? The host cannot vote.
Oh, right? Yeah, the hosts attendees should not vote. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, I want things physically right now.
Yeah.
If that's I'm not sure. Let's see if that's a popular or unpopular opinion, right? But yes.
I'm posting a link to the IntelliJ raffle now. You're welcome. If you want to enter, you're welcome to enter the raffle. There's an option if you want to add your name to our mailing list. If you click yes, we'll add your name to our mailing list. If you click no, we won't do anything with your email. We're fine either way. So I'm sending up the link now in the chat. Make sure to click that before the end of the presentation. And as a reminder, I'll also post the link again. There's also a raffle at Code Ranch if you're interested in a book.
Okay, so let's give everyone a chance here to. I don't see the link on the chat yet, but you're gonna put it right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It should be there. Oh wait, no, did I not? Hold on, maybe not. Oh, I accidentally sent it to Barry directly. Sorry, Barry.
All right, so yeah, IntelliJ raffle.
I was going to say that, yeah, it's in the chat. I see it.
I don't even know you can do direct message. I didn't know that was okay. Learn something new in Zoom.
All right. So, if you, let me be very clear here. If you want to participate on the IntelliJ raffle, that means you can win a license for IntelliJ, right? It's an awesome IDE. If and it costs money, right? So if you want to have a license for that, you have to participate in the raffle. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to win, right? And we're talking about how much is an IntelliJ license? About a $200 thing, right? So, or something.
As a quick comment, the only reason we need your email if you don't want your name in the mailing list is so that we can send the license to that email. Just to be clear, that's right. So if you win at the end, we will send the license to that email. But if you also want to enter our mailing list, you're welcome as well.
Cool. That's a good reason to have to ask for the email, right? So put your name and email there, and then get the participant in the raffle. And then there's a book, right? So you're gonna so that's your book, Scott.
Yep, it just came out last week. That's being hosted by Code Ranch. So that one, you go to Code Ranch, and if you post a question in the forum for the authors of the book, which is myself and Gene, you could win the book at the end of the week.
Okay, so that's that. So they're gonna get the book that we talked about in the beginning here, right? Okay, so the book.
So there's multiple ways to win free stuff: IntelliJ license, books. Sorry, no T-shirts. We're not in person. I can't get a T-shirt cannon and throw T-shirts around the room, but a lot of stuff to win tonight.
Yeah. All right, so
and someone, you don't need to put your email in the group chat. Just so you know, click the form. I'll put it again. Click the form so that so the email's private. We don't want it to share it to everybody, but click the form and you can do it there.
Yeah, once we go back to in-person meetings, we're definitely planning on getting some stickers, of our logo and T-shirts and
T-shirt cannon.
Well, sure, why not? Cool. I can have you shoot it off.
So since there's so many people giving free things, right? I'm gonna put a link here for my free book, right? So how about that, right? So at least you can get, if you don't get your IntelliJ on the raffle, if you don't get the book in the raffle, at least you can get my book, right? So I'm just gonna share this really quick here. So if you come to that page here, you put your name and email, I'm gonna send the book to your email, and that's my free book about how to organize, to plan for your best year ever. Right? So that's the URL right here, and I also put in the chat. And just to be fair,
we'll be holding the raffle at the end of the talk today, so it'll be in a little bit. So hang around if you want to win the IntelliJ license. And
so that's the raffle for the IntelliJ, right? So you put here your name and email, right? Do you want to join my list? If you do, look, I'll tell you what, right? If you are in the Garden State, right, you should say, if you're in New Jersey, you should say yes, put me on the main list, right? If I'm not right now, but you should everywhere you are, you should come and participate, because when you guys do in-person events, are you going to still be broadcasting online?
Yeah, so yeah, that's one thing
to be determined.
Is to have a hybrid approach as well, because we definitely want to keep all the folks that have been joining from outside the U.S. and awesome. All outside of New Jersey as well.
So put your name and email and say that you want to be on the Garden State main list, right? Because they have awesome speakers. Think about this, right? There is Michael here is working on it's on the Jakarta EE specification. Scott, right? It's a book author, right? We have Basler is a Java champion. So there's all kinds of nice people here in the group, right? So yes. So just put your name and email there, and then the last one here, which one is that? The book raffle, right?
Somewhere I'll put it there too again. Yeah.
Okay. So and then that's the book right here. That's where people should go. Where people should go?
Yeah. It's Code Ranch does this every week. We do a book draw. So basically, if you just post a question to the author, you're automatically entered to win for the book. And they're giving away 4 copies. I believe the drawing's done Friday evening, East Coast, if I'm not mistaken, but it's sometime Friday.
Okay.
So these are all questions people have posted, and each question enters them to win the book.
Okay, cool. Right. So all those questions here, people, you know, so just come to this form here and ask a question. That's all you need to do.
Good stuff. I'm going to jump in with the poll results real quick so we can then get back to the wonderful content that Bruno and Hugo have prepared. But the poll results are majority wanting to be back in person, yes, in the near future. 45%. We had yes, but not exactly right now at 18%. And then we had 36% no, not at all. So thank you. Just realized my camera's not on. Thank you for sharing. That's very helpful to us as planners and organizers. Hopefully we can all look forward to more in-person things very soon.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, so I like that, right? And you know, not until a few months from now. So if you join the yes in near future, the yes but not a few months from now, that means that, you know, a vast majority of people want to come back and start seeing each other face to face. That's great, right? But even the people that answer no, you still want to participate online, right? So that's why we got to do hybrid, man. There's no way out. We got to do hybrid.
And I presume that anybody who answered no is probably not within the area. So it's, you know, it's good to know.
Oh, yes, that's true, right? Because it would be interesting in attending the Garden State Javas Group on location, right? Okay, yeah. So it's very specific, right?
Well, if anybody from outside the area happens to be in the area, you know, everybody's more than welcome to show up at our brick and mortar location in Madison, New Jersey.
I thought you were going to invite them to your house for a second, Mike.
No.
You sound like, yeah, everybody come on over.
Or a beer.
Well,
Party at Mike's house.
We can adjourn to one of the local craft breweries here. So how's that sound?
That's awesome. Well, you know, if Mike is not going to invite everyone to his house, I will, right? So, you know, if you guys stopping by in São Paulo, Brazil, and give me a call and come see me in my house.
I'll bring beer.
Cool, awesome. You know, bring some Java, and we're gonna have fun. Okay, all right. So, you know, since we got this pause here, so Hugo, one of the things that we're talking about here is the importance of forcing and doing frequently. So, you know, do you want to share with us, Hugo, some strategies to do things frequently?
Oh, sure. Well, here I am forcing myself to be here and talking with you guys, an international job. At least if I'm from Brazil, in the same state from Bruno, São Paulo also. And so thank you, Bruno, for the invite. Thanks everyone from the Garden State for the space here.
Yeah, so just a quick introduction to you
sure.
here, right? So Hugo is, you know, he is an architect, right? You know, he's a specialist in architecture. He wrote a little book about architecture, right, Hugo? He also runs, you know, a weekly mentorship inside his company, a weekly mentorship in Saturdays with a group of people, and he runs with me and Mani Sakar. Mani Sakar is a Java champion from the London Java community. So Hugo runs the out of the box developer. It's a conversation that we do every 15 days, right? So with you guys, Hugo Sakamoto.
Oh, thank you for the introduction. Well, and about the starting things and creating habits. I believe that. It's nothing to teach here. It's just to share some experience that I have been getting some results, some good results, as Bruno just shared about running mentorship in a long run for every week, or running any other events. Also writing books, reading articles. All of these are results of two things that I believe it helped me to get things, some things moving. So one is very a very simple tip here is to get things two things is making things small and short. I think there are two powerful things that we can always get things moving done. At least for the 3 F's of Bruno, I think the one that is half away, it's fire, starting to making things, getting started. So making stuff short and small, it's really helpful. That's what helped me a lot to make starting writing books, starting writing articles, starting creating this weekly event and so on, and keeping it for a long time. So I actually, we started with a very very simple channel on the Discord that we called 5 Minutes Challenge, where we spend at least 5 minutes to every day to do something that we want. So in the very beginning, I started with a very simple thing. I started with reading a book, like Bruno just shared. In the beginning, I had a lot of books that I bought because I feel it's important. It's something that is very related to my career, and well, but it was a long time. They stopped it in my bookshelf, and never open it. Because as we are, I believe that most of us are very busy people. A lot of work to do. A lot of things that we not just on the work, but we bring some work at home sometimes. So or we are just tired, and it's difficult to focus on something that we really believe it's important, but we are not very in the mood to make things. So these 5 minutes helped a lot me to at least getting things moving, start moving. So I just keep 5 minutes of my day reading one page of the book. I just to open the book is the first action that I did, and that's the fire that made me start something different from my routine. And I started reading one page, and then it started getting more and more easier to make this action. So I guess I started with reading one page, and then started reading 2 pages, and then I just get some idea and started to write one line of article, and then I started to write an entire paragraph of the article, and then Bruno helped me a lot this time, and I posted the entire article in dev.to and so on, and I get many things done with just this 5 minute starting point, and I think that's a very helpful thing that I've been keeping for a long time.
So Hugo, lots of people ask, but but doing 5 minutes, is that actually gonna be helpful?
Yes, of course, it seems to be too few, but actually is the most important part is to keep it short, because the third word that Bruno shared there is the frequent. It's make it consistent. So if you are committed with a very long time to do something like 1 hour, I will separate 1 hour of my day to do some course, some lecture, anything. There certainly will be some time in our routine that will be very difficult to spend 1 hour to stay committed with that 1 hour. So if you stay committed with 5 minutes, it's enough to make your brain accept that is a very short, and there's in any day that you get in your life, you have 5 minutes to dedicate, to separate, and to manage it, to make it happen. So one of the most important part is keeping short, because you're committed with 5 minutes. If you want to stay more, any day you can stay more, but at least the 5 minutes to keep your consistency. I think that is the most important part. Keep consistent, because that will create those million, that will create the habit, that will start to create the habit, and then make things more easier and more natural for you, for your routine.
Cool. That's cool. And because look, consistency, I think that consistency is the name of the game, right? You know, if you want to, if you get the 3 F's that we talking about earlier, right? You know, if you get the 3 F's that you have to fire, you have to force it, and you have to do frequently, the big thing is consistency, right? So you know, if you consistently do something every day, you build a habit, you change your brain, right? So you know, that's why committing to 5 minutes, it's awesome. And it might seem small, right? But it can take you very, very far away. So we have here Baslu. I just saw Baslu open his camera, right? So let me just kind of say hello to Baslu. Baslu was just announced as a Java champion. When was that, Baslu? It was yesterday, I think.
It was yesterday.
So congratulations, Baslu.
Thank you.
That's awesome, man.
Congratulations. That's a big deal.
Thank you very much.
Congrats.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier today, you know, Basel also graduated our InfoQ editor and training program. So we, you know, you can find him on InfoQ and do a search. I think on his name, you can see all the news items that he has posted for InfoQ. So.
Yeah, I see
Good
Mula
stuff. Good
Ali saying congrats, Baslu. So Baslu, you know, since you talk about consistency here, do you think that you know, for you to get your Java champion, you had to be
We think we
grow the consistency?
Yeah,
the internet is not consistent.
Yeah, the internet is not consistent. Okay. So I'm saying that, you know, do you think that being consistent and start small was the thing that took you that far?
Definitely. I mean, consistency is the key. So one thing that I want to even share, which helped me most to keep me consistent and, you know, keep me, you know, especially force me to do certain things is, you know, do certain things in a group. For example, I can share 2 examples. One is I have written a couple of books. So what I used to do is I'll create a group of people, mostly with my peers, you know, the people I used to, you know, mentor. So I would create a group, and every day I'll probably write one page or something like that. Or end of the week, I'll have at least 10 pages, and they would review every day. So I'll give, once I have done writing certain things, I'll give it to them, please review it. So once they finish reviewing, they will keep asking me next, what we're going to review next. So something like that. So I'll create a group of people who keep me forced to, you know, will force me to keep consistent. So that's something that really helped me, you know, finish certain things in project or whatever I want to, you know, I would consider everything as a project, right? It's for example, nowadays I constantly write blog posts. So you know, I joined a group where everybody, you know, write content on every week. So it keeps me, you know, in my mind that I have to write as well. They are all writing. So these are 2 things, I mean, really help me to, you know, keep in intake.
That's cool. So Hugo, you know, this tip that Baslu just said, I think you use that too, right? So you do have a group of a mentoring group. You do meet people every Saturday, right? So you know, doing things with other people helps.
A lot. I think that's one of the secrets also to keep it consistent. It will be it's to find your community, some people that will be on the same boat as you. And that will be your day-to-day motivation to keep it going. Also, on the 5 minutes challenge, one tip is to not do it alone. Is yes, to have some group of people that can join with you, because many times I was, even for 5 minutes, I was too tired because of some routines, some busy days that I go out and you don't want even to see the computer screen. But I see a friend of mine he was just starting the 5 minutes challenge, and I couldn't keep him with his John alone. So I have to do it because I want to be with him, to see that he's not alone there, and then so that's very motivating reason for you.
he is doing things together in a group that really helps. And I have proven that several times in my, in my career, in my life, whatever you could, it's really proven and one of the proven technique. And I can definitely vouch for it.
That's awesome. Okay, so thanks a lot, Hugo. Thanks a lot, Baslur, for sharing how to be consistent, because I think this consistency is key, right? So let me congratulate Hugo for the out of the box developer that you're doing. That's it's very fun to participate. Thanks a lot, Hugo, and congratulations to you, Baslur, for being for becoming a Java champion and the editor of InfoQ, right? So that's like two things in the same day. So that's awesome. Congratulations, man.
Thank you, Mike. Also, Michael helped me a lot. During the training process. I really appreciate it. I keep bugging him. I sometimes feel like, am I bothering him too much? But he always helped me.
I also. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's all part of being the lead editor in the Java space. So it's we got a lot of great editors, and the Baslor is now part of that great team that we have. So
yeah, feel free to bother Mike every 5 minutes. We all do.
We're gonna have the 5 minutes a day challenges. You spend 5 minutes bothering Mike, right?
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. So we got some good things coming up down the road with the technical articles and that kind of thing. So and of course the Java Trends report will come out hopefully in September, and so we'll get a lot of content from the editors and also from folks from the Java community.
Awesome.
Stay tuned for that.
Hey, Mike, I gotta ask: does InfoQ have like a career space?
That's an interesting question, and I don't know. Some of the folks behind the scenes actually are employees of C4 Media, who publishes InfoQ, and of course QCon conferences. But yeah, to be honest, I don't know. Those of us who write news and tech articles and review tech articles and all that, we're just there to do that work. Okay. Essentially. But I can find out. I can find out.
Yeah. No, that'll be a good thing to write for them if they have some space there. Okay.
And we're always looking for editors in the different queues. There's the database queue. There's Java, of course. There's .NET and web and a host of others. So
awesome. Okay. So my internet got a little unstable here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Yeah, his video just froze as soon as he asked that question.
And I'm guessing his audio froze too.
Yeah.
I think we lost him. We'll give him another. Maybe we could do the raffle while we wait for him to come back. I don't know. Let's give him a minute or two.
So I have a question, and I'll ask it while Bruno is trying to get back in. What does everybody think of adding another element to this chain of necessary things for learning? The one that I want to add, at least in part, is curiosity. Nothing has been better for me in terms of learning than really wanting to know about something. If I really want to know about something, then I won't put off learning about it. I'll put off other things, maybe some other things that I need to do in order to find out about it. Can we add that to the list? I know it doesn't begin with an F, but I think constancy was in there, and constancy and curiosity both begin with a C. Does anybody have thoughts on that?
I think curiosity is excellent. It's like, I think a lot of people have, I don't know if it's fear of failure maybe, but when they encounter something new, they avoid it like it's going to hurt them. And when you're new, you're bad at everything. So it's okay to if you don't know a programming language. I mean, I encounter programming language every day I don't know, but I learn them because you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, and sometimes when you encounter something that looks too difficult, that's when you say, oh no, I've got to back away from this. I'll never get it. But then what I found is that if it's really something that I want to know about, really something I'm curious about, or in the unfortunate situation in which somebody tells me that I have to learn about it, or in the unfortunate situation in which I said that I know about it and I don't, and I have to make good on my lie, then what I do is I back off with my expectations about how much I'm going to learn each day.
Is that like when you set a deadline for yourself on something you have no idea if you could do it? Because I've done that.
Oh yeah, I know very well the feeling. But then what always happens is I have to take a step back and look at any parts of it that I possibly understand. And
I think
that means taking several steps back, but trying to find sources that just get me to carve little tiny pieces out of it, like that fellow in the Shawshank Redemption who made himself a tunnel outside of the prison with a little tiny, and there are times when I feel like I have to do that in order to learn something. But if I really want to learn about it, that strategy always works, or at least it does something useful.
All right, I think it's okay. Did Bruno come back?
Yeah, I just
Bruno's
admitted him.
back.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to do the poll.
No, wait with that. Bruno's and let me run this by Bruno.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. I had my network went down for a couple of minutes, but I'm back here.
And it went down. I want to tell you that it went down exactly after you asked, can you hear me? And we all said, oh yeah, no worries, no problem. You're wrong. Bruno, I threw out the suggestion that in addition to the elements you've already mentioned of being important, is that curiosity is an enormous help. And I say that because most of the things that I've learned effectively are that I learned them because I wanted to learn them, and because I couldn't wait to get back to learning them.
Right.
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So basically, the whole thing about the consistency, right? One thing that helps the consistency a lot is if you're motivated, right? So if you're curious about it, if you're interested about it, the more interested you have, the more motivated you're going to be, and the more you're going to be able to be doing that thing frequently, right? So yes, curiosity is extremely important. It's a very important skill, by the way. And curiosity is a skill, right? Something that you have to practice. If you don't practice, you're not gonna get results.
Is it practicable? I don't find that it's something that I need to make myself do. If I'm curious about something, it's just in me. I don't know. Can I train my students to be more curious? Do you think?
Yes, you can. Yes, curiosity is a skill that can be learned and can be practiced. Yes.
And how does one learn to be curious?
Well, you have to be asking things, right? You have to be, so just one tell, I'm not a co-host anymore, so I cannot add myself to the spotlight. So just let you guys know. All right.
We can fix that.
Yeah. Okay. So Barry, curiosity is about, is the desire to know more things, right? To see things in a different light, right? So the more questions you ask about your surroundings, and the more, the more you are used to be, to ask questions, the more curious you're going to be, right? So yeah, you can always incentivize your your students to ask questions, right? To look around and see problems, see difficult things, see new technologies, right? Whatever it is, you can always incentivize your students to ask questions.
Okay. Sounds good.
And because look, the whole thing about the brain, right, is that the brain, builds this, when you put myelin in the right places, what happens is those neurons got a lot faster, right? And then, so when there's an impulse, right? And then let's say there is, I'm very crude here. Of course, that's not how it works, but I'm going to be very crude. Let's say there is a neuron that says, don't ask question, and another neuron that says, ask question. If the neuron that says ask question is the one that has lots of myelin, the electrical pulse is going to be faster at the neuron that says ask question, and then you ask a question, right? And so the more you practice those things, the more you build myelin on the neurons that's gonna make you ask questions, that's gonna make you look around, right? That's gonna make you find things, right? Because the person that's curious is the person that can look around and finding little details on things, right? So that's an awesome skill for developers. Developers always have to be curious to try to find the little details on things around them.
Right, absolutely. I guess, can I take just another minute here? I want to just toss in. So I normally avoid advice that people write about learning.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I do it is because there's a lot of advice out there that's just,
right.
I don't want to be crude, but okay.
Exactly.
But I did get convinced to look at a book a while ago, and I have no reason. I promise I'm not. I don't even know these authors. But the name of it is Make It Stick, and it's by.
Oh
Peter
yeah.
Brown. You know the book?
Is it
Maybe I think I may have mentioned it at one of the meetings.
Yeah, is it Make It Stick or Stick With It?
Make It Stick. It's
Make
called.
It Stick. Okay. Yeah.
By Peter Brown.
Make It Stick. I think it's a marketing book, right?
A what?
It's a marketing book. Make It Stick. No.
No. It's about learning.
Okay.
It uses neuroscience principles and experimented data to
Mm-hmm.
say how one learns. And while it doesn't emphasize the kind of thing that you're talking about here, which is practice, which I agree with completely. It's more about passive learning when you have to do it.
Right.
But it's also just excellent. It's like I said, I am really skeptical about learning books because they all seem to have been dragged out of somebody's imagination, but this one is good.
Yeah, one interesting thing, Barry, that has happened is that really, in the last 10 years, the whole science of the brain has completely changed, right? So any advice that you had, 10, 15 years ago, you probably have to revisit that because, in the last 10, 15 years, the amount of things that we learn about the brains, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we thought that myelin, for example, was it was just something that was there in the brain, and it was just it's just when you're born with it, it was just born with myelin, right? We didn't really understand why it was for, right? So so yeah, a lot of these things are very recent, and I think that the more we learn about it, the better we can become.
And it's coming in the other direction because we used to do AI with rules.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're doing it with neural networks.
Right.
Neural.
Yeah.
Get it?
Exactly.
Neural. Right.
Exactly.
So
Actually, let me just say a very curious thing, right? So one thing that I that we've been talking about, artificial intelligence and the metaverse and all that, and people been thinking, when can I download my conscious, right, to the computers, right? And that is an interesting question because the only way if I grow like a clone of myself, can I download myself into them? Think about that, right? Your brain is not only the neurons, not only the connections, but it's also the myelin around the neurons, right? So for you to download your conscious into the computers, for example, or for you to download the computer conscious into your new body, you would have not only to have the neurons connected, but you also have to have the right amount of myelin in every single neuron. So that's going to take a while.
I'm working on it.
All right. Okay, guys. So let me say this. I'm gonna do this here. I want to go for questions here because I drop it out. I'm not sure how long I still have here, but I want to go for questions here. So tell me, you know, I want to see from you that are here with us, if you, you know, what is the most important thing that you want to do in your career, right? And actually, if you wrote anything in the chat before, I lost everything when I drop and came back. I don't have the chat anymore. So I'm going to start from scratch here. So tell me, everyone, what is it you want to accomplish, right? What is the biggest dream that you have in your career? What is the biggest challenge you're facing right now in terms of career, in terms of learning, in terms of becoming better, right? So because I want to go on and answer questions and actually work with you to really help you, you know, grow in your career, grow in what you want, right? So everyone here, right? So I see lots of people. Hey, Ali, Andrea, Baslur, Bill, David, Dimitri, Flauber, Max. Can I call you Max Maximiliano? I have a good friend of mine that's Max Maximilian, so I call him Max. I want you to learn and master artificial intelligence. That's awesome, David. So what's your biggest challenge in terms of learning artificial intelligence right now? Hey, Paul, there's two Pauls. Hey, Paul and Paul, Osama, Sadui, Sebastian, Shian, Steven. So come on, send your questions here. And just one thing, I think there's right before I drop, there was a last chance that you could do to register to get the IntelliJ, right? And so let me ask for the organizers here. Maybe Kathleen can answer that to me. Kathleen, if the person is not here, can they still get the prize?
If they're not here right now? No,
I
I
mean,
believe you still need, I think we do. And Scott, correct me, because you usually run the raffle, but typically they need to say yes or accept it on the call in order to.
Okay, all right. So you gotta be here to earn so don't drop, right? So you know, we're gonna end in about 10 more minutes. Is that about the right time?
Yep.
To the raffle. Okay, good. All right. So okay, so David says my biggest challenge is finding the time to learn, right? And so here, David, let me add to that challenge, right? So the biggest challenge is not only adding the time to learn, is actually adding the time to experiment, right? Remember, there's no learning if you don't do, right? So my suggestion to you, David, is that you immediately you get involved on things that you can do to start using artificial intelligence. And so here's my secret for all of you here to find the time. My suggestion to you, David, is that you find something that is related to your job, right? So find time at work to do something related to artificial intelligence, right? So for example, you know, let's say, you know, you can ask your boss, for example, if you could spend 10 minutes every day, or even you know, 10 minutes might be something you can do without even ask your boss, right? But to try to think about a artificial intelligence project to, you know, as a proof of concept, for example, choose something that your company is doing. If you try to think about something, even very small, that artificial intelligence can help your company, your project. It could be a new tool, right? So for example, you know, GitHub now has the tool to help you, you know, write code, right? So, you know, so is there a new tool that you can use to help you do your work, right? So find something, David, that is related to artificial intelligence in your work, right? That's the best way to find time, because if you connect artificial intelligence to something that your company is doing, to something that your project is doing, to something that your boss wants you to do, then, you know, then there's no problem that your boss is going to give you like an hour a week, or maybe an hour a day, sometimes, depending on how you can connect those things, right? So try to find things that are connected to your work, David. Even if you think, but there's nothing connected, man, that's why, you know, curiosity and creativity that the Barry starts talking about is so important, right? Because if you look around, if you talk to people, you talk to your boss, right? If you find things that you can do in your work, that's going to give you all the time that you need to experiment with something. And more than that, right? It's going to give you time. It's going to, you know, if you experiment something at your work, that's going to be added to your curriculum, right? So that's going to actually help you to go and find another job that will allow you to do that, for example, or even another job inside the company, right? It doesn't need to be outside the company. And so, so Bill says, sometimes I get stuck in problems, right? Tips for F4 fast, right? So it's not about fast learning, but you can solve problems faster. Bill, I'm going to give you the 2 tricks, right? I'm actually going to go all the questions here, right? But 2 tricks, because I just saw here from Bill. So 2 tricks for solving problems faster, Bill. First, you have to understand, Bill, that you think when you think, but in reality, you only think when you share, when you externalize, when you speak. So you want to solve a problem, you start writing or talking about the problem, right? You get stuck in a problem, go to explain to someone. Have you ever heard, Bill, the strategy called the rubber duck debugging? Rubber duck, right? So this is not a developer duck, right? This is Layer Shift. It's a hosting company, right? Partners and friends of mine. But you know, a rubber duck debugging is the strategy that you explain to someone, a rubber duck. Hey, Mr. Duck, right? I'm having this problem here. And you do this, you do aloud, man. You speak aloud to the rubber duck, or to, you know, I'm a puppeteer, right? So I can do this for puppets, right? So you do the rubber duck and say, hey, Mr. Duck, I'm having this problem. And that's the problem. You try to explain the problem, explain your reasoning, because Bill, you think when you think, but you only think when you speak, right? When you share. That's why we write code, okay? So go write. So that's trick number 1 to solve problems. Trick number 2 to solve problems is find the real problem you have to solve, man. The biggest thing that we get stuck to problems is that we're trying to solve the wrong problem. So make sure, Bill, that you know exactly what the problem you're trying to do. So, and that's going to help you solve problems a lot faster. Okay, so Flauber says, to learn another technology, why work with another old one, right? An old one, not excited, right? So you don't master you want to master the new technology, you want to learn the new technology, right? So what do? Well, so again, the best way, Flauber, is to try to find ways in your job, in your company, that you can experiment with new technology, right? So for example, you can say, look, I'm going to build a tool. Let's give examples here, right? Let's say you're working with, I don't know, you're working with COBOL, right? And you want to learn Java, right? So, you know, can you write a tool for your company? That's, you write the tool in Java. A lot of people say, oh, but my company's never going to work with Java, right? My company's using COBOL. I'm never going to be able to do anything in Java, because you're only thinking about putting things in production, right? But I can guarantee you that your company is going to have, you know, parallel projects, going to have tools they need to do. It's going to have, you know, testing, right, that needs to be done. And you can use Java in all those areas, even though your main thing that you do is COBOL, right? So you can start working on Java, and then you use that to either convince your company that they should move you to a project on Java, or convince your, or maybe find another job that's going to allow you to do Java. Okay, so yeah, so find something parallel that you can work right now. Andrea asks, I'm trying to organize my schedule to learn more than one thing at the same time, right? But the priorities have changed all the time. So here's the problem, Andrea. If your priorities change, then you're gonna be going all places. You know, you're gonna be jumping to one thing to another, right? So first things first, Andrea, is for you to think about your priorities. So one thing that we didn't have a lot of, you know, we didn't talk yet, but let me talk about this right now, is focus, right? So a lot of people think that focus is the technology I'm learning, is the good thing about working at home, because we have tools nearby, right? So a lot of people think that focus, right, is the technology that I use, the tools that I use, and that's not focus, Andrea. Focus, it's not tools, right? So for example, if you know, I have a wooden window over there, right? If the guy comes to my house and say, I'm going to fix your wooden window because I'm a specialist on a hammer, I don't want to hire specialists on hammers to fix my window or my roof or my floor, right? You know, I want to hire a specialist in Windows, right? Not Microsoft Windows, but in real Windows, right? To fix my window, right? You know, so we don't hire specialists in tools. We hire specialists in problems. So when you're talking about focus, Andrea, and priorities, focus is not the tool, right? Focus is not the tool that you use. Focus is the problem that you solve, right? So when you say, I want to learn lots of things at the same time, it's not a problem, Andrea. It's not a problem. For example, if I want to fix, let's say, the problem I'm going to solve is performance problems of Java applications running in the clouds, right? So now, if my problem requires lots of tools, it's not a problem that I have to learn all the tools at the same time, because I'm not learning the tool for the tool. I'm learning several tools, right? You know, tool one, tool two, several tools to solve a specific problem. So your focus, Andrea, should be on the problems that you solve. And by the way, that's what the industry is looking for. The industry is looking for people that know how to solve problems and not people that are master on tools. The only people, so for example, the only people that are specialists in hammers, right, are the people, I don't even know which fact, you know, it's all destroyed here. So I don't even know which factor is this one here, right? But actually I have this another one here. Let's see. All right, so this hammer here is from this company here, Summa Steel, right? So those guys, I can guarantee that they hire specialists in hammers. And I'm sure they have a specialist in hammers handles and a specialist in hammers heads, right? So companies that build tools hire tools specialists. So Oracle hires Java specialists, right? But, you know, most companies hire people that solve problems. So you can learn lots of things at the same time, Andrea, if you focus on problems. And that should keep your priorities organized, right? Because once you know which problem you solve, that can last for many, many, many years. It doesn't matter what the tools change. I can guarantee you that even today, there are specialists in roofs, right? And they use completely different tools than they use it 10 years ago or 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago, but we still have a specialist in roofs as we had for a long time, right? Okay, so I'm trying to answer everything. Hugo, if you see any question you want to answer, man, go ahead and do that, right? The biggest challenge is forcing to learn English and do lead code regularly. Oh, and fix issues and add features to my side open source project. Okay, so Dimitri, it's all about time, right? So you're trying to find time to do all those things, right? So for me, for example, I think although do lead code is nice, but I would prefer that if you did your open source projects, better to work on the open source project, real projects, than just to do exercise, right? So that would be my priority at least. I'm self-employed, says David, and I still need time with so many things. Oh, because David is the one that's not employed by a company, so he wants to learn artificial intelligence. Okay, I'm self-employed and still need the time with so many things pressing for me, right? So that I understand, David. So if you're self-employed, it's even better, David, because then what you need to do is find a customer, right, that wants artificial intelligence. And you might think, but Bruno, I'm not a specialist in artificial intelligence. How come I can find a customer that needs artificial intelligence if I'm not a specialist? Find a small company, a company that does not have the budget, the capability, right? Find a small company with a small project and go work for them 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week, 5 hours a week or whatever, right? Find someone, David, that needs that, or someone that's willing to learn artificial intelligence, right? So you can go and teach them. Or, and then you can find that, and then you get paid to learn those things, right? And that's totally possible, guys. You know, being a consultant, being an independent, David, you are in the best position ever, right? Being independent, being a consultant, being an independent developer. This is the future for all of us, right? So you're already in the future, man. I heard this statement today that I thought was great, right? People say the future, it's already here. It's just not everywhere, right? There are people that are working on the future already, but not everyone is, right? So you, David, you're working the future, man. You are doing whatever all of us should be doing, right? Should be independent, right? So that's a great thing. Baz will say teaching someone is a great way to know whether you learn something or not. Yes, that's a great way. I'd like to talk about the Feynman technique, right? For Richard Feynman. And okay, so yeah, so Dave's saying Upwork's a good place, right? That's good. Okay, David, awesome. So I like to talk about the Feynman technique. Richard Feynman was a Nobel Prize winner, and he had an amazing technique to learn anything, right? To be good at anything, and it involved the most important step is exactly teaching someone, right? So that's awesome. Dimitri says, I write articles. That's pretty close. So yes, Dimitri, you think that you think when you think, but you only think when you write, right? So writing articles is awesome for that, right? I want to become a Jakarta EE open source committer. Awesome, Ali. And so Ali talked to me yesterday or 2 days ago, talking for me to introduce him to Otavio. So I'm working on that, Ali. So don't worry. But Michael right here is a Jakarta EE spec specialist here. So Michael can help you out, Ali. So reach out to Michael for that, right?
And to become a committer, you have to actually, submit a number of PRs and contribute source code or documentation improvements and things like that. So there is a little bit of work, upfront work involved.
I saw a great post on Twitter today. It's one of my favorites I've seen in a while. And it was something like, if you want to become an open source contributor, like to become one, go through and look for like spelling errors and typos and like Java doc errors, because you could not even understand the code and still improve the quality of the code. And it's a good way to kind of get your foot in the door, learn how the PR process works, learn how the review process works, because some people, it's very intimidating. So even if you just go through a code base and look for spelling errors, that's still useful work. So I thought that was really good advice if you have some trepidation about getting into it. Bruno, we are a little short on time.
Yeah.
If people want to stay, well, I recommend we do the raffle. We end up, and if you want to stay and answer questions for anyone, I think there might be a never-ending supply of questions for you.
No, Scott. I think I've answered all the questions. So that's why I was just going to tell you that you do the raffle right now, because I think I answered all the questions. If there's any more questions, I can stay a little bit longer. No problem.
Let me put
I was just going very fast to try to see if I answer everything.
What did I? Oh, sorry. Let me fix this. All right, we've got. Yeah, I know it jumped to the other one. Can everyone see the raffle wheel?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
I can.
So I'm using the wheel of names. I put the names for the people who entered on the wheel. I will click it, and you have to be here present to win. So let's see who it stops on. So we've got a winner. Is Shyam P. Hari here? I don't know. I lose all.
Ryan, you have to say hello in the chats, otherwise you don't win. He is here.
Yeah, I see the name.
Yes, but does he has to say hello in the chat, or does he just
wants to say hello to someone? Can you acknowledge in the chat or unmute yourself?
So I see the name Shine Prasad.
There's two Shyams in here.
The shoe shines. Oh, okay.
Well, at least, there's the one that I see is.
All right, going once.
Going once.
Going twice.
So Cheyenne, you're here, man. Come on, say hello. I can see you there, man.
All right, try this again. Oh, no, wait.
He's here. Thanks.
Wait, is that the same one?
Thanks.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah.
Is there more? There's not more than one.
Oh,
right?
okay. Shyam P. Hari.
Okay, no, he got it. He got it just in time.
Okay.
So,
right,
Mike, write that down, and we will send you the license.
Yes, we need.
Awesome.
Yep.
Woohoo! Congrats, Cheyenne. Thanks, man.
All right. I can wrap things up with my ending slides. just to, let me see, so make sure I'm back where we need to be. So congratulations, Shyam. You will get an email from me either right after the meeting is over or tomorrow morning early. So just want to talk about some upcoming events. Oh, I did not update this. Sorry about that. So I knew there was something I forgot. All right, never mind that. There is DevOps UK is this week. Last week was JFocus. So you know, if you follow anybody on Twitter, you'll see a lot of you know, tweets about what's going on there. So sorry about that. That's my fault. So so upcoming meetings for us. So next month we Edson Yanaga has committed to you know, speaking with us. We just haven't coordinated yet on a final topic, so stay tuned for that. We will have a meeting in July. We're working on a speaker. We reached out to Andres Almaray for July, but there's some conferences that he'll be attending, and then plus, you know, we don't want to have the meeting on the 5th of July, which is the day after July 4th holiday here in the US, of course. So anyway, so we settled on September 13th for getting started with JReleaser, a hands-on workshop. He just presented this at the New York Java SIG last month. You know, JReleaser just had a version 1.0 release a couple of weeks ago. And, you know, we've been, you know, giving that some exposure on InfoQ with my weekly news roundups, updates, you know, on that. So Andres presented to us about a year and a couple of months ago. And so he'll be back with us in September. We'll most likely take an August summer break. We tried to talk last year, but the attendance wasn't all that well, and thankfully it was just me speaking. So
It was Mike
meetings.
It was Mike speaking to himself for an hour.
Yeah, that's basically it, right? So so upcoming meetings, we have you know, friends of the Garden State Java group, of course. New York, there's nothing scheduled at the moment. Chicago had theirs last Thursday, but I just thought I'd put it up there to show you what they presented last Thursday on continuous regression testing. And then the Kansas City Java group, hosted by Billy Carando and others. They have Sandil Kerman talking about building reactive microservices with JHipster and Kubernetes. JHipster is I want to say, best way to describe it is it's a platform or a framework for developing applications. So both, you know, has the ability to create front end and back end parts of your application. So it's kind of polyglot, you know, to some degree there. So that's a week from Thursday. You can go to those meetup pages. We already gave the prize, and there we go. That's my ending slide to celebrate, you know, a great talk by Bruno, and you really, you know, really thank you for, you know, being with us tonight, and you know, speaking to our group. And we had a good bunch of folks here tonight. Also, I always like to thank the leadership team of the Garden State Java group. You know, it's well, I'm looking at here, Caitlin, Scott, Barry, Paul's here, I believe, Paul Furbacker, and Paul Sayers. So, you know, we have a great bunch of folks. We do a lot of behind the scenes stuff to, you know, for each of these meetings, and for, you know, developing content and you know, speakers and, you know, that kind of thing. So thank you. You know, this is a passion of mine I've had for 21 years now. It started out as the ACGNJ Java users group back in Scotch Plains, and it's evolved so much ever since. So,
and hopefully, based on that poll, you know, sometime soon, who knows when, but sometime soon we'll be in person, and those beers won't be virtual anymore.
That's right. Well, like my little beverage center is right behind me, so, you know, I won't have to go too far. So,
or soda or seltzer water, if you
that's right. Yeah.
I'm thinking about doing a tour right after JavaMan, right? So let's talk about that, and so maybe we can have a beer together.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. No. There is there is a tavern right near the Drew University in Madison, where we can go.
I would,
afterwards.
so if anybody knows the Jersey State, if you're from the Jersey State, we're known for having 24/7 diners all over the entire state, like everywhere. Like that, you can get less than a mile from a 24-hour diner. That has not returned yet. That is something that diners still close early. Like you can't go get a burger at 1 a.m. for reasons that are upsetting to me. But hopefully that will return. So Bruno, wait for the diners to return.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
the Nautilus Diner in Madison is open, so I don't know if they're open.
I don't know. There's a
24/7.
lot of diners that close at like 9 o'clock that used to be 24/7, and it's a bizarre site that I hope changes soon.
Okay. Well, hopefully by the time JavaMan comes along, I think JavaMan is October, right? So
Yes.
by that time, hopefully is gonna be working.
Hopefully things are open again more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Ali, yes, there's some questions in the chat here. My LinkedIn, I'd have to go find that real quick. I could do that. Oh, David Middlecoff, alcohol is bad for the brain. Yes, I get that. So, Bill was
Says
wondering
everything you could drink or eat, honestly.
I know David for I don't know how long now, from Trenton Computer Festival. So, but in any event, Jay Hipster, does it come from Groovy? I don't know if Groovy's part of it. Let's see, Jay Hipster.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I'll have to get back to you that, Bill. I'm trying to find the website here. Okay, here's
That concludes the bulk of our meeting. If people want to keep talking, if Bruno, if you want to stay and answer any additional questions, but I think the formal part of our meeting is done. If we ever had a formal part of our meeting.
So,
so I mean, if anyone has any more questions about your career or where you want to get to,
oh, that was a trick.
or something like this,
okay.
Feel free to keep asking, and I'll keep answering here. But so Dave say thank you for all the great advice. So thanks a lot, David. And Paul say thanks for the speaker, Bruno. So thanks a lot, Paul. Okay, awesome. Thank you all for joining us again. Says Kathleen. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you everybody for attending. This is Bruno. This was a great talk.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Let's see.
Awesome.
Talks and meals. It's how you and I interact.
Yes, exactly. Talks and meals, right? And Microsoft interviews.
Okay, there's my LinkedIn, Ali. I sent it to you privately there. So
I got a question for you, Bruno.
I don't think you sent it to the group, Mike.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Oh, I sent it just to Ali. Yeah.
Let's go. Go ahead, Kathleen.
I'll send it to everybody.
So with physical fitness, for instance, right? If you're exercising, you might cross train, right? You do something else and then it makes you stronger when you return to the original sport. I sometimes find it useful to take a breather from something and go learn about something else and then come back to it. But I've never implemented that as a strategy, right? Do you have any thoughts around, you don't want to become too general, you want to remain focused, but do you have thoughts on constructive ways to use variety in your favor?
Right. So when you talk about focus, so two things there, right? So when you talk about focus, and when you focus on a problem, right, then you have a lot of how do I say variety?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you focus on the problem, there's so many aspects to it, right? You're not going to focus on a tiny little problem that can only be solved one way, of course, because that would not be an interesting enough problem for you, right? So it is a big complex problem. That's what we want. We want to solve big complex problems. So if you talk about, for example, let's just get the example I used before, performance of Java applications in the cloud, right? I mean, that's a huge problem. So yes, you can experiment with different things, with different tools. And you're totally right, Kathleen, that, staying too long in one thing, right? It tires, it burns you out, right? And, your brain needs time to think and to rest. And a lot of times someone asks here, how to solve problems fast. A lot of times you get stuck in a problem and then you cannot solve the problem because you're stuck on it. So go do something else is very important. And you can do something else that's related or something else that's not related, right? You know, you can go walk, take a walk and go do some exercise. All of these helps your brain, right? But you can also do something else that is not related, but it's still on the same problem, right? So, for example, let's say you're trying to do something in the cloud and you're not working, and you're trying to test something there in the cloud and you can't do it for some reason. Then go do something else. Maybe take a look at the source code of the Java VM, right? Or or take a look at a performance tool that you want to experiment, right? I mean, we love tools so much, right? So yeah, go experiment at a performance tool for 5 minutes, right? Or something like this. Take your mind out of the problem and go experiment with something else. And that's very, very valid, right? And so the best way, so the best performance in the world, right? They have this strategy that they do something very strong and they practice very strong, and then they stop, right? Sometimes for an hour or more, right? Then they come back and they do it again, and they stop and they come back and do it again, right? So 3 times in a day, it's awesome, right? So if you want to be better at cloud computing, for example, you focus on cloud in the morning, you stop, go do something else, come back at lunchtime to do cloud again, stop, go do something else, come back later in the day to cloud again. That's the best strategy that you can do, because you're going to force your brain 3 times. Actually, we say that for you to implement a habit, for example, it requires 66 repetitions, right? And so, because that's the time that it takes for your brain to start creating new paths, right? So if you do 3 times a day something, then you do 66 repetitions in a short time, right? In 10 days, right? Actually in 30 days, right? And so if you just do once a day, it's going to take 2 months for you. So so it's like the more you can do it, the better it's going to be.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So Basu said, I didn't know the number. Yeah, 66 repetitions. That's about it. About people say between 60 to 70 repetitions, and the number, like the specific number, is 66. But about between 60 to 70 repetitions. That's when you create a habit.
Yeah,
So
that's
experiment new
another
feature of
number.
Java, says Baslur. That's a great question, Kathleen. And so this whole thing about repetition and put some space in it, it's so important that the best strategy for you to remember anything is called spaced repetition. It's the best strategy ever, right? So if you're trying to learn anything, you're trying to learn a book or studying for certification, for example, or anything like that, you should learn something and then come back to that thing in spaced times, right? So that's what we call spaced repetition. You repeat that in spaced times. I'm sure you guys heard the tool called Duolingo. Duolingo is a language learning tool. They use spaced repetition to get you to learn language, right? And so a quick tool that is awesome. 2 things that you can do. One is do flashcards, right? Flashcards is a great way for you to remember things. And then you can do flashcards with spaced repetition. That it's a pain, because then you have to remember which cards have already studied, which I have not. So the best thing you can do is use a tool called Anki, Anki, Anki. I'm going to put it here in the chat, right? So just search for Anki, and the site is ankiweb.com or .org, maybe it's .org. So Anki is a spaced repetition tool for anything, right? So you can create your own memory cards, right? Your own flash cards. Anki is, I don't think it's Anki.com. I think it's ankiweb.com.
Okay.
David. But so Anki is awesome for you to apply spaced repetition. So Basil put the link right there. Yes, thanks a lot, Basil. And then you can download that to your phone. Funny enough, I use Anki. I'm not very good at this so far, right? But I'm terrible at names, right? So one thing that I do is that I use Anki to remember names of people. And so, for example, I do have the flashcards you can download that. I have it online. you can download the flashcards for all the names and photos of Java champions, right? So if you want to remember the names of all the Java champions, so Baslo, I'm going to have to put you there. You know, and so if you can download, there's Anki cards for Java features, for Java EE certifications, for, you know, you can use that to help you out. So yes, Kathleen, you're totally right. Stopping, go do something else, come back and do things again. It's awesome strategy for you to go deeper.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that tool. That's exciting because I have this informal habit, right? But we all want to get better at whatever we do. So
Right. Yeah.
Thanks.
Cool. All right. I don't see any more questions. I think we can, you know, it's a good time to end before there's any more questions.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's still a whole bunch of folks on here. So yeah. Awesome. Yeah, no, again, thanks everybody for spending your time, your precious time, your evening on a Tuesday night with us. And you know, those of you who responded to be on the mailing list, I'll try to get those onto my database as soon as possible. And you'll be on, you know, you'll be able to get my my emails. I only send about 2 or 3 a month tops, you know, unless there's extra special events going on. So, but
Cool. So thanks everyone. Thanks for the
All
Garden
right.
State User Group and all the organization. Thanks a lot for the opportunity of being here. It's no lovely to be with you guys. Hope I can go there in person.
yes, we look forward to having you with us in New Jersey, or if, you know, if I find myself in Brazil, definitely someplace I've not been yet. So
Cool.
Cool. Well, thanks again, Bruno.
All right,
So
folks.
good to see you.
good night,
Bye, Bruno.
everybody.
Bye,
Yeah.
all.